All right. So, how many of you saw this last night? How many of you saw this last night? Anybody saw this last night? I've been seeing this young lady. She's 37 years old. I've been seeing her float around the internet for a minute. I haven't really paid attention. I think I've seen a couple of rhetorics. I'm like, I'm not about to engage this. I don't got time for this. But somehow, hardly initiated the podcast, Ryan and Tyshawn, they decided that it's time to chase additional clout. And they had this young lady on the show. Who is she? She's Princella, Princella, something like that. Princella, she's the queen maker. Why are we talking about her? Because apparently she's trying to save a lot of women. Apparently she's been saving a lot of women from the traumas that women have had to face for centuries. Now, this woman is very smart. I'm not going to take that away from her. Very, very smart. But smart is not, it's not necessarily, it's not always a good thing. Okay, some people are they get too smart, they get way too smart. See, that's the thing about humility and pride. God will humble every single one of us at the end of the day. No matter how much we know when it comes to books, right? God eventually will humble all of us, right? Because every one of us, we have a blind spot. I say that all the time. We have a blind spot. You can only see so far. You can only see maybe 180 degree at any point in time. Like this. If you move around, you might see a little bit more. If you move around, you see a little bit more. But ultimately, when you're looking for like this, you can still see stuff going on the side, but you can't see the back of your head. Okay, maybe you can see 270 degree if you're really that good. You can feel 280 degree, but you can never see 360 degrees. There's always some kind of blind spot. And that's the problem with a lot of smart people. In fact, on the next topic, which is our main topic, the Mubad topic, you're going to see that also showcased in this topic. So this young lady is smart, very intelligent. That has nothing to do with nothing. But when people are too intelligent and they're not even able to calm down and see other people's perspectives, that's trouble. And they're probably going to mislead a lot of people. Okay? Why? Because they're smart. So naturally, people follow them, right? And but they're probably going to end up misleading a lot of people. But let me play a little bit of this. Her name is Princella. Let me see if there's a bio out there for her. Let me see, maybe just to make sure I do proper justice, But I was on a stage some weeks ago with one of my boys, Glory, and he was like, "Oh, this lady is selling some books." I forgot what the name of the book was. I don't remember what the name of the book was, but but the title was quite triggering. Let me see if I can find something here, just so you guys can know who we're talking about, right? Queen Maker books. Okay, let's see. Right. Her name is Princella, the Queen Maker. Okay, and about to see. I think I might be able to get the title of the book really quick right now. All right, so she has a book called The Game, 41 Shades of Man, The 5 Components of Love. But there's another book in particular that my buddy was telling me about. I can't see that book here. Apparently it's a newest book or something. Anyway, this doesn't look good for me. And feel free to say I'm insecure. That's fine. But let's talk about it. I'm going to play this video for you and then we'll take it from there. Let's see. Where is it? There you go. Found it.
But here's the thing. I'm getting specific with you because I could tell you about the time a guy pulled a gun on me. All
right. So at this point, she had been talking for so long. She just came off very, very toxic. Now, the men were caught up in their feelings. And that's a normal behavior. That's normal human behavior. Okay. They were caught up in their feelings because they were hearing things that were triggering them. Okay. There's a lot of castigate the man rhetoric in what she was saying, but she was backing them up with astrology, science, physics, and all this crazy stuff. Honestly, if you're talking to me with all this kind of stuff, you will lose me in 30 seconds. My attention span is extremely bad. Right? I'm always looking for the next best thing. Like, that's actually a bad side of myself. Right? So, but she was going and she was doing most of the talking. This is about 2 hours 20 minutes into the live stream right now, but a lot of the rhetoric were just basically men are useless, women don't need men. Okay, men are useless, women don't need men. Women are quote unquote 360 degrees, something like that, and men can only see 180 degree. Now, when you start to think about it deeply, like, because men, logic, black and white, but women can, so there's some sense to that. Now, a lot of the factual stuff she's talking about, there's a lot of sense to it. It's an application that there are problems, as usual, okay? This person is just Kevin Samuel to this third, to 10,000 power on the other side of the gender. That's all that is, okay? And I hate to put Kevin Samuels in that. Somebody's going to take that personally. Now your walla be that, okay? But let's use maybe like Andrew Tate, okay? When it was toxic, not when it's trying to fix its narrative right now, okay? Let me see if I can find another example. Anyway, you get the gist. It's gender war, basically. It's violent. She wants violence. She doesn't want peace, okay? But she doesn't say that exactly because she's very articulate and she's very, very good at what she was doing. So at some point, the men got to a point and they were like, you know what? What happened to you? Who hurt you? Just like the men, when you ask them who hurt you, they take it personally. They say, why is it gotta be somebody hurt me? Blah, blah, blah. She did exactly the same thing because it's essentially the same thing. It's just two different genders, okay? When you're coming from a place of brokenness, being like broken, like traumatic experiences, especially if it goes as far back as your childhood. Yeah, Cap, we can tell. Okay, we can smell it. Okay, as human beings, the way I always say is that we are spirits. We have incredible radar for bullshit. We can smell it. Yeah, even when you're smart, no matter how smart you are, no matter how intelligent you are, as long as you're a human being, including myself, we can tell. Okay, you're coming from a place of personal experience, particularly a painful experience. Oftentimes, if you're coming off as like, is that or not, right? That you're basically trying to create a false solution that it might work for you, it's probably not going to work for the general public. But let's play it a little bit.
It like that. But the whole thing was to try to control me, my mind, for whatever he wanted. And it was like, okay, so you ain't nothing but a little meal piece, a little chess piece that I'm moving around.
And was he your first bad experience with?
Let me go back a little bit because they asked her a specific question to tell us about her bad experiences. She she didn't want to, but they managed to get her to talk.
At the company, you're gonna have to pay me millions. And I'm like, what? We ain't made no money. Now I'm 19, 20 years old at this time. Now keep in mind, I just came out of Christianity, okay? Because I denounced Christianity on my own because I was raised Baptist or whatever. So anyway, this happens.
Did y'all have
Wait, that's not the red flag. The fact that she denounced Christianity is not the red flag. And I understand if that's a red flag for some of you, but that's not the red flag, okay? There are enough people that have denounced religion, okay, and we're seeing more and more of it every day. I don't know if you're paying attention. So that's not the actual red flag yet, but it tends to also align with certain rhetoric sometimes. So
intimate relationship?
No, he was really just a mentor to me. Okay, so it wasn't nothing sexual there at all. But anyway, so this happens and I'm just like, well, forget it. Then I threw all of those CDs away because I'm the type of person, I'm just going to disconnect. I'm not even finna go through all of that. So anyway, we separated like that. But the whole thing was to try to control me, my mind, for whatever he wanted. And it was like, okay, so you ain't nothing but a little meal piece, a little chess piece that I'm moving around.
And was he your first bad experience with a man?
I won't even say bad experience.
All right, this is the part where she's in denial. They managed to get her to talk a little bit more about her bad experiences, but she's still saying she's still in denial. I wouldn't even say that is such a bad experience. I do that sometimes. Let me be honest with you, right? When you are a little bit more conscious than an average person, right? The consciousness thing, right? The woke thing. That's why I push hard against it, because I know that I could come off as woke. And I'm like, no, stay right here. Just hang out with human beings for a second. Do you have to, like, Jesus Christ? Like, just keep it normal for a second, right? So that's why you might see me push against it. So it's coming from personal. Again, as usual, right? So she's still in denial, even though she's already telling us.
This is
Watch.
the first experience of me having a direct insight on the male. So
no, it was a bad experience with the male. It was a bad experience with the male human being. At 19, 20 years old, you're 37 years of age now. Keep watching.
So when you said this is the first experience with direct insight on the male, I'm assuming that means you didn't have a father figure to give you some of that insight prior to being 16.
Yeah, my father was there. Yeah,
No, that's a lie. Your father was not there. We could tell already. Okay, there's a small chance we could be wrong. Those chances do exist, but your father was not there. Okay. Chia said we can just keep it simple and say thank you. Oh, you're still on that. Don't argue about this issue now. Let's leave that to replay. Okay. Only God knows the mess in that book. I don't appreciate how she was putting men down when they said no one hurt them. It's all the way cap. Our experiences mold us precisely. That's all of us, right? Exactly.
He had just got out of the military, so he was there. He already knew. People in the community knew this guy, right? So,
I mean, but you said this guy was the first time you got from another male that's not your father.
Well, if you want to talk about my father, my father was an alcoholic, and he actually.
Oh, he was an alcoholic, but what? But what?
Actually broke my mother's.
This girl is a very intelligent. This is I've seen a couple of clips around the internet. This is actually the first time I will see her be a little nervous in talking about this. She's usually very stoic. She's part of the right now. She said in the last year she's become a part of the alphabet community, the LGBTQ, right? And she's typically like very confident. But this that she's talking about right now, if you look, I don't know, I'm not really a body mind reader, but it looks to me that she is now getting nervous at this point. Because keep in mind, I watched a lot of it, and this is about 2 hours 21 minutes into this conversation.
Knows with a telephone receiver.
I got you. Okay. So your experiences with negative experiences with men started very early.
Very early. All right.
Okay.
All right. So, but what we're not gonna do is try to make it seem like that's
no. I don't want to do that.
That's precisely what it is. They were just being respectful to their guests. That's precise. What we're gonna do is see it as what it is. Okay, you're leading a pack of women who were in the chat coming off extremely hateful to men. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can see some of them here right now. There's one particular girl that just kept going, and she tried to call into the show to derail the show, but they managed to stop her. Okay, let me keep playing like this.
Yeah, I just think that's context.
I want to give context, but I need to get through.
I always ask that question when people start to go in and they start talking about how terrible the other gender is. It doesn't matter. There's people on both sides that do this, right? I said, give us some context. They said, well, it's the internet. Why do you need my context? Why do you need me to tell me about like? But I need context. Just because you are speaking physics and chemistry and biology, it does not mean you're correct. It's too many moving variables to the human experience, right? That's why extremely intelligent people in this conversation tend to fall in the what. Precisely. That's why. I'm looking through this comments it looks like somebody's already blocked. Because she was going in, she's blocked. I don't see her comments. Her name was B. Taylor. She's blocked off of this platform already now. Because she was going in. You know how you come back to a replay and you don't see that person's text anymore? Now, I know of her because I've seen her with the Manosphere people already. That's how I know of her. Okay? But let's keep going.
More of them, right? So that you can see the consistent thing. Because here's the thing. If I put 100 marbles up here or M&Ms up here, and I made 98 of them blue, and I made 2 of them yellow, and then I mixed them up, what's the likelihood that you're going to pull out a yellow one? Let's say the yellow ones are the good ones.
2%.
Right, 2%.
Well, no. That depends on what.
That depends, Ryan.
Tool you using. Right, and how you and what the strategy is for.
It depends on the tool that you're using.
Where you to go about grabbing.
Shout out to Tim Ross. I know how you feel about Tim Ross right now. He handled himself very well last night. He did a good job as far as I'm concerned. Because honestly, you don't argue with this kind of human beings. The best you can do is listen carefully, because they're very, very they're very clever too, right? So you can't just you can't do like that with them. You have to let them go, because they will usually tell on themselves. It's a matter of time.
Get up in the bag, and you just because
if you randomly draw, that's all I'm saying. If you're using your eyes, it could be different.
It depends. The point is that no, we can't use such lame examples with human beings, because your circle is only a certain type of people in your circle because of you. You tend to attract a certain type of people in your circle. So no, it's not a matter of what are the chances that you're gonna pick 2 yellow if all of them no, that's a very lame analogy.
Let's get to the point now. Okay.
You sift.
Okay. Hold on, because y'all asked me a question. Okay. Because I don't really talk about.
They also tend to talk forever when you ask them a question. They never get to anywhere. Oh, that hurts me. It's one of the reasons why I don't like panels. Okay, somebody just hog up the mic and you're talking like it's TED Talk. I can't. I've been on panels before. Some of you have seen me on panels before. For the most part, I just be quiet. I'd rather just listen than to compete with the mic for you, because I'm not getting paid. If I'm getting paid, I'll know that that's the position. I will take that mic from you and smack it on your head. But I'm not getting paid. Just come and argue with something you already made up your mind. It's not who. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not who I am.
About my personal experiences, unless somebody asks me.
I'm not, and just so you understand, I'm not using your personal experiences to say what you're saying is not justified, because a lot of what people been through allows them to go into deep research and to study and actually become credible in certain spaces. So I'm not saying that's discrediting you, but I think that's just important for the audience just to get context from the message in general. You have a story,
right? And what I'm saying is I want to tell the story. So just let me tell it. All right. So that's 1 and 2, right? Okay. So let's during the CD period.
What about the intimate relationships?
Oh my God!
The intimate relationship? What happened to you?
Are you gonna let me talk?
No. I promise you, you've had about 75% of the talk time. Princella, we letting you talk.
I know, but
listen to this part. This is 2 hours 20 minutes in. She, in my estimation, she did about 87.888% of the talking. She was supposed to be here to debate Tim Ross. She literally took over the conversation. Listen to what she just said.
Right, and what I'm saying is I want to tell the story. So just let me tell it.
She's about
to. That's 1 and 2, right?
Okay.
So during the CD period.
What about the intimate relationships?
Oh my God! Are you gonna let me talk? No, seriously.
No, I promise you've had about 75% of the talk time. Priscilla, we letting you talk.
I know, but
I promise you, we letting you talk.
I know, but
not 75%, 87.888% of the time.
Y'all asking me questions that y'all ain't letting me answer.
She was one half of the guest. It was supposed to be a debate.
Answer. So he specifically.
I just want you to give us the Cliff Note version on not the.
I'm not like Jesus Christ. Do you have to talk forever?
Shorten you
because y'all looking for a specific answer when I get.
No, we already got it. It's just a show. They already got it. You had some traumatic experiences, so now you're making them into theory, and not there are more than enough women that have gone through some traumatic experiences that might even take it to another level for you. So maybe you don't mean to hate men. There are more than enough men that will follow that and help you hate men. All right. And the problem with that is that when they did a poll on this show last night, 69% of the poll said women, mostly women on their platform, said she's not speaking for us. There you have it.
Give you the answer. Then it's like, okay, so y'all not asking specific questions, but here's the thing. I'm getting specific with you because I could tell you about the time a guy pulled a gun on me. All right. I mean, I can tell you about the time that a guy nearly flipped me over being drunk. Okay. I can tell you about the guy who took $40,000 from me, right? Running a Nation of Islam hustle on me. I mean, if you want me to get there, let me talk and I'll get you there.
There you go.
No,
go ahead.
But just let me talk. All right. Because there is a reason why women experience what they experience.
No. It's not about women. It's about you. It's about you. Gentlemen, it's not about men. Men have been suffering. No, it's about you. You cannot help anyone else if you don't help yourself first. In fact, if anything, you're going to mislead a bunch of men. You're going to mislead a bunch of women. If you're always coming from this angle, it's not your determination. We get to determine that. If it sounds like it's gender war to the rest of us, not you, you're disqualified. If it sounds to the rest of us that this is a gender war, right? You can't help anyone else. You need to help yourself first, because clearly you're struggling helping yourself. And that's going to sound like we're not listening to all the scientific physics and chemistry evidence you brought to the table. As far as we are concerned, Auntie, you go shalaye tired because we're disconnected. We're lost.
We go explain because no evidence.
This session was so draining. By the time I finished watching the video, I was drained. Right? If I was drained, the women that she claims to be leading, do you think they're happy? No, they're not. That's why they're always in this argument. It's stressful. And in that same breath, you don't want to agree that we're talking about romantic relationships. No, we're talking about you and your capabilities with romantic relationship. That's not necessarily your fault. But we cannot make it about everybody else except you. Because we're human beings. We're not M&Ms. We're not yellow M&Ms. Jesus Christ.
It's the false belief about who men are that have women selecting men. You got women selecting men based on
She tried to make it about women.
his job. You have women
only using those specific criteria, one, or using just only those two. Yeah, it's faulty.
But
you should consider a lot more when you decide to be with somebody.
You need more samples. You need to, not you experiencing it yourself, but talk to other people that might have a different experience.
The reason why I have what I call the 41 shades of men, all right? I learned those 41 shades by being around men, right? I worked in male-dominated industries. I spent 8 years in the military, mostly around men, because I was a tomboy. And let me tell you something. Men let me in to their mind, okay? So the men that I worked with, oh man, they were all married. I'm one of the only women that they talk to like I'm one of them. So I'm in a circle where it's like 8 men and I'm the only woman in there. My manager is basically Dale Carnegie believe that they're good, right?
Watch this.
On page.
So all the good books in the world are written for men. That's what she thinks. And women don't need those books. Well, I was like, okay, sure. That's an opinion. That's fine.
Page 4, chapter 1, that most men believe that they're good, right? Let even the hardest criminal tell it that none of them are bad men. So when men try to speak and say, oh, that's just that male, they basically...
Well, that's the reality across the board. If somebody comes to me and says all women are so, I tell them the same thing. That's just that person. And that was about you. You attracted that person. Let's talk about you. Oh, well, what about this other time? Well, that's still you attracting that other person. What about this other one? That is still you attracting. What about this other example? Like, Baba, you just told me 20 people at most. My attention span is not that long. Usually you've told me maybe 4 or 5. I need to see on paper, maybe you've done some kind of studies or something like that. Right?
Try to isolate women and make it seem like you only know bad men. It's like no male.
No, they're not isolating women. They're isolating you and your experience. You see how she kept saying women when she's actually talking about her as a woman.
Knows another bad male.
See how I'm pausing right now? I couldn't be having a conversation with her and be pausing her. I couldn't, right? I would have to listen to everything too. My overall assessment would still be this.
Did you know that you can invest your money into other?
I'm gonna push it forward right now because I want to go on to the main story. She's saying the same thing. Okay. All our followers were in the chat calling these two gentlemen crybaby. I felt for them. They were drained.
Or evils or whatever you want to call it. But I'm not going to sit here and just listen to a bunch of things that men have done wrong and think that's the best way that you want to communicate to men and women.
No, I don't think women should be trying to help men be better men. Men are responsible for being better themselves. So here's the thing. Men can believe and do whatever they want. And I'm telling women that they don't have to participate in that, because who I care more about, because life is more important. And the nurture and the sustainer of life is not the one.
I get your concerns, especially personally. It's just in your life when it comes to bringing men into your life. So you pulled out altogether. Now, making the major decision to date women, have you found that to be a much more successful model as far as to be able to have peace?
She's just like women. Like, that's it.
Free of issues and so on and so forth.
Okay, it's not that simple. But she likes women.
Before you answer that,
yeah.
All right. This is how I'm going to round up this session.
First of all, just thank you for the gift of your vulnerability. Because you could have kept it at the statistics and you didn't have to bring your own personal situations into it and the experience that you had. But as I sit across from you, I'm very heartbroken.
I appreciate it.
I'm heartbroken. From your father to your mentor to whoever put the gun on you. I just kind of need a minute because you didn't deserve that. And that wasn't supposed to happen to you. And I know you've probably moved on and
all right. So you could see here, somebody said, oh my God, I can tell this is fake. All right, let me keep playing.
Maybe you've integrated it and done some therapy, but as a 180-degree man sitting across from you,
that's how you know you're toxic, by the way. You become a police. Like even when somebody is giving you a hand, right? You ask, why are you giving me a hand? They give you a bottle of water because they see you sweating profusely like you're freaking in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan. And you're like, why are you giving me water? Right? That's how you know. That is all toxic. Right?
Makes me very angry. And it breaks my heart that you had to experience that. And I am pissed.
They said it's fake. They're saying it's fake. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's fake or not. You're on a show. You came to a show. They managed to get you to tell your story. It was a sad story. It's a sad story for one particular human being who has a series of men who have taken advantage of her. Who cares if it's fake? Was the story fake? Was it all a lie? Who cares? It's a sad story regardless, nonetheless. But that's how you know that conversation will never get anywhere. The reason why I'm covering this is very simple. These are the things you want to watch out for. Okay? We're human beings. That's all I'm saying. We're human beings, okay? We're emotional beings, we're social beings, okay? Anything that gets you into a space where you're trying to disassociate yourself, isolate yourself from the rest of the world, there's nothing healthy about that. And when we say healthy, we're talking about with respect to the rest of the human race, right? So it's not right or wrong. In other words, you being a social person, you will nothing will ever be enough for you. No one is going to be able to satisfy you. That's why someone like me would not personally engage that conversation. I will send you to a therapy, to therapists, people that are licensed clinicians that can help you, right? And they get paid, and the government have certain budgets in place to handle that. Me personally, I won't, because I don't think I have the solution. I don't think there's a solution. If we're talking about centuries upon centuries of men and we're just going to generalize, there's no solution. There's no need for the conversation. I wouldn't want to engage her to convince her. I don't want to convince her. If I engage her, I'll be willing to learn more I'll be psychoanalyzing her. I'll be wondering what is going on inside her mind. That's what I'll be doing all along. I wouldn't be trying to change her mind. That's the last thing I'll be trying to do. You know. But that was weird. Go watch it. Go support Hardly Initiated. Go watch it. By the time you finish watching it, I don't care if you support her or you're against her, you'll be drained. Guaranteed. All right. Those women in the chat was doing the most. I'm done with that story right now. The chick that called in that was dating women, right? Yeah. She was dating women. She just started yesterday because somehow this lady managed to convince her. Go figure. I can't take you seriously. Right? It's, if anything, cruise. Okay? Since you're happy, you're smiling, and you don't want anybody to cry for you, I will just be hanging out with you, and we'll do the same thing. Like, oh, that's what you choose. This is a good moment to say, do you? Right? The world don't spoil. What did men do to her now? Did they take her girlfriend? It's a female case, Marriott. Why are you like this? She had a whole lot of negative male experiences, yes, and kept attracting the same type of horrible men before she started dating women. Yeah, and we don't want to judge her, but we have to call that what it is, especially if you're trying to lead other women. I think, like I said to Chinye last night in the chat, I think she would do a good job saving women that are maybe going through traumatic experience like that may be stuck in DV or something like that. She might be able to help them, but to help them attract love, no. She can't help them because that doesn't exist in what she's talking about. It's all cerebral, all mathematical and scientific, but human beings don't operate like that. The reason why mathematics exists is because we go study it, but we want to soft life, you know. We don't want to be thinking about that all the time, you know. Yeah, people who has asking Tim Ross to take a flight and fly back to Houston. Exactly, I took that poll. Yeah, you did? Sounds like intense therapy with the psychiatrics is needed. Yes. That situation right there is clinical, and there's a good chance they cannot solve it. They can manage it for the rest of our life. They can't solve it. Okay? And that goes for anybody who is attracted to her message. There was one particular lady who kept saying, oh, you know, I'm married to a person in the household. I'm just one of the lucky ones. I was like, no. Stop the cap. You're struggling too. If you can relate with her.
Stop the cap.
You're struggling. Okay? We're human beings. We can relate only because it's personal to some level. It might be secondhand sometimes, but it's close. It's close. You know? Myra said, what is this Tyler Perry production? This man is patronizing her. That tone is annoying and fake. It wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. And like I said, that's just my belief. That's my opinion. I don't think it matters if it was fake. She just told an extremely sad story. What does it matter? Why is it that it became matter? I said became matter. Why is it that it matters now that it's fake? That story was sad. Go watch it. If anybody's daughter go through that, that's sad. Period, point blank. We don't care if somebody was kind, it's fake. It doesn't matter. You know? And if it matters, there's a reason why it matters, is what I'm saying. Why is it that it matters? What should matter more is that sad story that is making this woman run around the internet and teach women that they don't need men. Do you need another human being? No, you don't. As a matter of fact, I think that's toxic if you're running around the internet talking about you don't need another. But if you're teaching a group of women that they don't need men, right? And we can see them toxic in the chat, we gotta look at that as what it like not shading or anything. Just see that for what it is. Like, okay, there's a pattern here. This is telling us something, you know. So I don't think it matters. Let's call it fake. It doesn't matter. What should matter if it's true? If it's a true story, what should have mattered is that story, right? But I'm guessing the story doesn't matter as much anymore. Let's just go out there, and there's enough of these people. Let me say it like this to you. There are men starting to do that too, by the way. They say buy all baby boys, all black babies. Have you not heard that before? They said buy, like, destroy them because they're useless. Now, if you're a normal human being, and I say normal as in like most human beings, right? Like, why should we do that, right? But if you've been through certain experiences, you might just be like, yes, that's what we need to do. It doesn't matter if it's fake or not. Not to say this is the problem with people, they don't see past their myopic brain. How is this fake? Because this is why. I'll show you why it's fake. Okay, this is what it becomes. It's patronizing. She has real trauma and he's fake crying. Not cool. I don't know how we could tell that he's fake crying, but I don't think it matters. Like I said, I personally wouldn't cry like that because I know what I know here. Right? This is what I play by. These are rules I play by. Remember, I'm the guy who says apology is more destructive, right? Because of this type of scenarios. And Tim clearly does not know that with all of his studies. I wouldn't cry to people I don't know. I wouldn't do that personally. Okay? But I don't think it matters because the story was supposed to be sad. Okay? As a matter of fact, you should shame me. If I was the guy that was sitting out there and I wasn't concerned, I was all... Remember, I was even dragged one time like that. Well, slightly, not dragged, like it wasn't that deep, but on Antipeace platform. Right? Because, Ola, you should be more empathetic. No, I see things that I'm like this chick. I see things for what they are, but I'm also aware that human beings are what they are. They show affection, they show emotions, and they show, right? And I'm actually very aware that I'm not the norm when it comes to stuff like that. So I actually have to put in extra effort to show empathy sometimes. But I think it can be overdone. I think that is a possibility. But I'm more concerned about why is she in that space where, because they asked her later on and they said, do you think that was fake? And she said, well, we don't know each other like that. So, well, that's just me. I do that on my show. Sometimes it just affects me. He said that, right? But again, why does that matter? Why would that matter? You know? But these are the issues. We're talking about love, romance, relationships, a good experience, not mathematics. Yes, all of that has mathematics in it. But we're talking about the actual experience as a human being when you're experiencing it. You're not thinking about math. You're not calculative when you're thinking about it. Just having the experience. Okay? Number 3, police. The moralizer. I don't think I've reviewed this enough in recent times. Okay? Number 3. Right? In the poisons, blame, fault, judgment, condemnation, right? These are the traits that we're talking about right now. What we talk about here is seduction and attraction, which is applicable in everything in life, including when you're looking for power, including when you're trying to engage your power, including when you're trying to win in life, which means amongst other human beings, you're not trying to live in a cave, right? When you're so stuck in your personal situation, and it's about castigating and pointing out who is right and wrong, and you're concerned, you're overly obsessed with fairness and judgment and justification. It's not your fault, whatever it is, I don't know, but I'm telling you, the reality is that it's going to be very, very hard for you to attract love, or to make people feel comfortable around you, or to make them feel like they want to be around you. The people that will want to be around you would typically be misery loves company. Like, they have the same traumatic experience, so of course it's soothing to them. They start to feel like, oh, I wasn't crazy all along. That makes sense too, right? But I'm talking about normal people that haven't really seen what you've seen. They will have a hard time with that, right? And if you go into anything romantic with anybody you're doing misery loves company, it's basketballs that will finish it. That's just how it works. Okay? And initially, it's soothing, it's short-term solution, but long-term, human beings are not set up like that, you know? So that's what that is. Let's see. D-Love says, MOP, the story matters. However, the way he was just patronizing her and side-shading her did not sit well with me. I think she watched the whole show. If you talk about the side shady thing, or she's the queen of that, literally. Okay. If someone is truly traumatized, why are you patronizing her? I don't know, but it was gross. Yeah, you need the full context, D-Love. I trust you. When you see the full context, it makes sense. It makes sense to you. It's 2 hours into that show. It was like pulling teeth to get her to give us some context. All she was doing is basically, men are useless. She didn't say it directly. She was doing precisely what you said here. She was doing a lot of patronizing, a lot of side shading men, right? And she had 3 men sitting there. It took everything. They were triggered. It took everything to engage in that civil conversation with her. And so finally, about 2 hours, 20 minutes into the conversation, they managed to get her to tell us where all of this is coming from. After she took about 10 minutes to tell us the most traumatic, you listening, you felt a level of trauma, not the same as hers, out of respect, but you felt like, Jesus, you went through this, right? Now, like I said, I wouldn't cry with a stranger. I don't care what they're telling me. I'll just tell them, go and see a therapist. Or, Tim has been moving some type of way in recent times. On the internet, cry, show that he's concerned, he's compassionate, but he just tasted real life yesterday. Right? The same people you're trying to support will drag you. Woto. You collect. That's how human beings operate. Sorry. They will say, you are fake. You don't know what I went through. How could you? Now, it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence to understand that. You can't tell a person that has gone through the fruit grape, right, that I feel you. No, you don't feel them. That's number one. Number two, the person that's saying they feel you, that's not what they meant. They're just trying to understand. Number three, it doesn't matter. If you lack emotional intelligence, you don't understand what they're talking about, you're confused. I'm just saying that was, well, you're fake. Human beings will show you shaggy. Speaking of human beings will show you shaggy. I think it's time do me a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, because we're about to get into more human beings showing themselves shaggy, never getting to a solution because of the toxic nature of all of the discombobulaya that we're talking about right now. Jesus Christ, toxic. I'll be right back.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.